Either Greg Abbott really did direct law enforcement to arrest protesters for being anti-Semitic, or he wants us to think that he did. Either they are being hauled away in handcuffs for anti-Semitism, or they're being hauled away for actually breaking the law, but Greg Abbott is presenting it as a crackdown on anti-Semitism. In either case, it's a problem. It is a very big problem, in fact. And that is because anti-Semitic speech is not illegal, okay? Now, directly calling for or inciting violence is illegal. And if somebody does that, then arrest them for that. Arrest them right away and tell us that's what you're doing. But anti-Semitic speech more broadly, that is speech that conveys a hatred for or opposition towards Jews, is not illegal. You are allowed to hate Jews or any other group in this country. You cannot make it illegal to simply hate a group of people or say that you hate them. Or you can do that, but if you do, free speech is over. It's just done. If we have free speech at all, then that umbrella must cover what we now call hate speech. And this is entirely leaving aside the question of whether all of these protesters actually do hate Jews. And I think it's clear that many of them don't. Some of them are Jewish themselves. Others are there because, as established, they see Israel as a white Western power, and that's why they hate it. Others are there just because they want to protest something and they don't care about the reason or know about the reason. We just heard from one of those people. She doesn't even know why she's there. And others are there because they oppose Israel as a political entity, but not Jews as people. And then some are there, yes, because they hate Jewish people. That crowd is certainly present at many of these protests. You can hear them. It's absurd to deny all of these other motivations and reasons and assume that all of them are protesting just for that last reason. But even if they were, it shouldn't matter legally, because legally we have the First Amendment. Now, if free speech does not include the kind of speech society judges to be most vile and unpleasant, then there's no such thing as free speech. If protesters don't have the First Amendment right to express views that those in power find especially detestable, then they don't have the First Amendment. You know, if the governor declares, you have the right to say whatever you want, except for that, because that's really mean. Well, if that is declared, then clearly you do not have the right to say what you want. It's not hard to see what happens next once this precedent is set. If the governor can send the cops in and have you arrested for being anti-Semitic, if he can declare, indeed, that anti-Semitic speech will not be tolerated in his state at all, which is what he said, then why can't you also be arrested for so-called homophobic speech or transphobic speech or racist speech? Is it now up to the governor of each state to decide which forms of hateful speech will be tolerated and which will not be tolerated? Is that what it means to live in a supposedly free country? There are many forms of bigotry, yet there's only one that Greg Abbott has decided will not be tolerated in Texas. He certainly never declared during the BLM riots that anti-whiteism won't be tolerated. He appears to have a lot of tolerance for that. Well, that's why our free speech rights should not hinge on the tolerance and preferences of our political leaders. You as the leader might find this form of hate to be especially appalling, even more than other forms. I don't care. I don't give a damn what you personally feel is worse. That shouldn't make a difference. You're allowed to have your opinion. You can't arrest people according to that. No one has the right to directly call for or threaten violence against anyone. But you do have the right to hate whoever you want and to express that hatred verbally. I'm not saying hatred is good. I'm not recommending it. But you have the right. Human beings experience hate and they talk like you. Yes, you have the right to do that. It's that simple. If we legitimize the criminalization of so-called hate speech, we embrace the final destruction of the First Amendment. And we invite the left to use this as a weapon against us, which they will. And happily so. And that's why Greg Abbott is, once again, I'm afraid to say, canceled.
Hey, yo, Ice, man, I'm working on this term paper for college. What's the First Amendment? Freedom of speech! That's some motherfucking bullshit. You say the wrong thing, they'll lock your ass up quick.